Stacks. So Stacks is trying to bring the utility to Bitcoin. The reality is that Bitcoin has become a store of value, and right now, the building of all these Bitcoin layer 2s, Stacks being the biggest by a country mile, is now starting to allow Bitcoin holders, allow people that own even a little bit of Bitcoin to use it within DeFi. Instead of having to wrap it up and all of this, they can use it directly. Stacks is trying to unlock Bitcoin effectively so that DeFi can grow and grow and grow. And to be fair, the Bitcoin ecosystem can grow. I think there's potential here for this to have a very good year. I want to go into what they're doing, where they're at. Now, before I get into it, if you're new here, this spreadsheet shows the first 26 coins that I did videos about on the channel. In the videos, I show myself buying up all of these cryptos. These were coins I thought could do very, very well and make a lot of money. Now you can see what they're all worth when I recorded my videos. These are the highs these cryptos hit around about 16 months on, and these are what your profits would have been if you'd have popped $100 into these coins. 100 into each in that time would have made you over 123 grand. Now the thing is obviously you don't have 16 months. We're in a bull cycle right now. If you're not happy with the coins you own, get onto copymycrypto.com and have a look through the site. That's the site I run where I share every single coin I own with my members. If I'm ever looking at buying or selling any crypto, I tell my members the crypto that I'm going to be buying or selling, the price that I'm going to be buying or selling at. So my members get in and out of coins at the same price as me, so they make the same profit, and they don't have any work to do at all. If you actually go onto my site, you'll be able to see some of the profits my members have made. You'll be able to see some of my past successes. These are all public record. Go onto the old videos on this channel. You'll be able to verify everything that you read and that you watch and that you see. And if after doing that, you like what you see and you want to hear more, you want to hear about the coins I own, the ones I think are going to be the big winners of this cycle, like I predicted with Phantom in the last bull cycle, all you've got to do to find out about any of them is join up on the site, guys. Now, Stacks. So, Stacks sitting on a market cap of 1.29 billion. Volume around 125 mil a day. On all the big exchanges, obviously no listing bounce coming. Now, it's a Bitcoin layer for smart contracts. It enables smart contracts and dApps to use Bitcoin as an asset and settle transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain. Obviously, Bitcoin's the biggest crypto in the world. It's the most valuable, and it's the oldest. Now, they're basically aiming to unlock 500 billion plus in capital, and Bitcoin capital, using the Bitcoin layer 1 as the settlement layer for decentralized applications. So the way this is going to work is that basically, because Stacks can read Bitcoin at any time, developers can start building on their layer 2, creating the opportunity to start using Bitcoin in their apps. All transactions on the Stacks layer are automatically hashed and settled on the Bitcoin layer 1. So all Stacks blocks are secured by 100% of Bitcoin's hash power. So in order to basically screw with Stacks, you'd have to screw with Bitcoin. It's pretty much impossible at this point. It was started in 2017 when Munib finished his PhD thesis, which laid out the foundations for the Stack layer for Bitcoin. He raised $50 million when he basically took it to VCs. And this was actually the first ever SEC qualified token offering for the general public, which included the US. The full offering materials disclosed everything and anything about the project, company, and people. So it was actually very, very transparent comparative to a lot of the ICOs, etc., that we've seen in the past. From 2018 to 2020, the team was heads down building out the Stacks infrastructure. It's a programming layer for Bitcoin, along with their Clarity language, which is a safe language. What makes it unique is, again, it is a Bitcoin layer for smart contracts. They have a novel backed Bitcoin that is one-to-one backed with Bitcoin on layer 1, so it can be moved in and out of the Stacks layer in a nice, easy way. This will be called SBTC, and it enables smart contracts to write to Bitcoin. Stacks powers atomic Bitcoin swaps and assets owned by Bitcoin addresses. And when we start actually diving in, so as you can see on the site, basically they're saying activate the Bitcoin economy with the leading Bitcoin layer 2, use and build apps that leverage Bitcoin as a secure base layer. So major institutions among leaders to deposit early in SBTC, which is obviously the Stacks Bitcoin. So you can see actually since getting up and running, they've got quite a few bits and bobs here where people have been building. Like the build, it's actually not looking too bad at all. But we do want to open up the Explorer. So as you can see, quite a lot of different projects. Now, granted, some of these are infrastructure projects. Some of, thankfully, actually, they haven't done that standard thing of putting it up. Oh no, they might have. Apps. No. So they've got a separate tab for exchanges. Good. That always annoys me. So as we can see, circulating supply 1.52 billion. 610 million stacks are stacked. Next stacking cycle begins in 2 days. When we start diving into, there we go, tokens. So SBTC, so as we can see, it's starting to get used. There's a supply of only about 3,000 right now, which when you put into context of Bitcoin being worth basically, well, let's call it 100 grand. To be fair, that's not bad. It's 300 mil. 300 million worth of Bitcoin. So that isn't bad. So there's starting to be usage, but again, it seems like institutions are the first to begin. If we actually take a look at their article where they spoke on this, or at least website, not website, news site. So Stacks announced a series of major institutions adopting SBTC for the Bitcoin strategy. Early depositors included UTXO, SNZ, Jump Crypto, and many more. Early demand for SBTC resulted in a second cap raise that tripled capacity for deposits. This cap was met less than 24 hours after its opening, ushering in the latest wave of builders, institutions, wealth managers, etc. One rapidly growing SBTC use case, Zest, has already amassed nearly 40% of all SBTC in the protocol, demonstrating usability and productivity for Bitcoin. So Zest is where. So let's have a look. Let's see if we can find Zest. Zest. So it's a lending protocol. There we go. So total supplied 44 million SBTC here. Total borrowed around 500,000. So you can supply at around a 4% yield. So protocol yield is sent to your wallet address directly. Boosted APR can be claimed from the dashboard as soon as you've earned the first rewards. Okay, that's not bad. So again, trying to unlock the usage for Bitcoin here. Now, one thing I imagine that we're going to end up seeing is quite a significant growth in stacks, in money that goes into stacks. As Bitcoin rises, yes, everyone, the long-term holders are just going to be happy because their asset is rising. But there's going to be plenty of institutions that will start using that to lend out. We saw this in the last bull cycle. We saw it tons, where there was a ton of lending and borrowing, and some companies got themselves in very bad situations doing this. Celsius is a great example of that. But this is always the case of in bull cycles, people don't want to sell their underlying asset. So rather than selling it, they will use it as collateral to borrow more. And of course, there's always risks of liquidations. If the underlying asset drops tons in value, there is a risk. But obviously, Bitcoin is far more stable than, let's say, than any of the other any altcoin. So if Bitcoin drops, it's going to be substantially less than the way some of the altcoins drop. And that was what we saw in the last bull cycle, was a lot of a lot of the companies that ended up struggling, a lot of the people that borrowed money ended up struggling because their underlying asset dropped so much in value so quickly that they couldn't pay back their loans and they got liquidated. So Stacks utilize, Stacks, whether it's Zest protocol or whatever, starting to utilize Bitcoin as the underlying asset has really positive implications in terms of net money that's going to start flowing around during a bull cycle. And as Bitcoin rises, you've got to expect Stacks is going to rise along with it. And has Zest got its own coin? I assume it does. No? Okay. That's an interesting one. The Zest don't appear to have their own coin, not that I can see. If they do, I imagine early users of Zest are probably going to end up getting airdropped a Zest token if they don't have one up and running. I haven't checked, to be fair. So in terms of Stacks, I think it's going to be very positively correlated with Bitcoin. As Bitcoin starts hitting new all-time highs, I think we'll see Stacks starting to try and climb to new all-time highs. Now, granted, the highest Stacks has been is $3.84. I certainly think $4 is a fair target. I think realistically there is a very, very valid shot that this could get to $6, maybe even in an outside world $10. But that is going to depend on how much usage we see on the Stacks layer, and whether that comes from DeFi lending and borrowing protocols like Zest, or whether it comes from just to be fair, that's where it's going to come from. So really the big job here from Stacks is just to make the holders of Bitcoin aware of what they can do with their Bitcoin, as opposed to sitting on it for multiple years. Use it in one of these protocols, get yourself more yield, earn more Bitcoin whilst it's sitting in your wallet doing nothing. If Stacks can entice, several $1 billion worth of Bitcoin onto their layer, then I think this has a real good shot of rallying very, very well. $6, I think, is probably the fairest target, I think, but I certainly think there's an outside shot of $10 here. But again, that's going to depend on how much money goes into Stacks. If we don't see much money go into Stacks, if we don't see the total value locked grow on Stacks layer, then it won't grow. It's kind of that simple. So job is to really get those Bitcoin holders on board. If you've used Stacks, how do you find it? Do you like it? Do you think it is going to be like a mainstay in crypto? Obviously, it's been around a few years now. Do you think it's going to always be knocking around that top 100? Do you think it can crack the top 10? Where do you stand? Let me know in the comments. And guys, look, we're in a bull cycle right now, and if you're not happy with the coins you own, or you don't own any cryptos, get on to copymycrypto.com. Just read through the site. This is the site I run where I share my portfolio with my members. When I'm ready to buy or sell any coin, I tell my members the coin that I'm going to be buying or selling and the price that I'm going to be buying or selling at. So my members get in and out of cryptos at the same price as me, so they make the same profit, and they don't have any work to do at all. Like I say, go on the site, see the profits my members have made, see my past successes, verify them all because they're all on the history of this channel. And if you want to hear more, whether you just want to hear my daily market updates or whether you want to find out the coins I think are going to be the winners of the cycle, the ones that I own, all you've got to do to find out about any of that is join up on the site, guys. And if you do, I'll see you there. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.